Russia is going to beat Ukraine, and Trump is helping Russia beat Ukraine. And why are you bitching? It's not going to help your economy if Ukraine beats Russia. It's not going to affect America's defense if Ukraine beats Russia, because Russia's all the way 50,000 miles away. They'd have to send nuclear missiles to us, and they can do that anyway now. So why do you fucking care if Russia beats Ukraine? Now, let me tell you how Trump is helping Russia beat Ukraine. Trump has pulled funding for that goddamn war and called for a 28-point treaty. And in that 28 treaty, I'm telling you, he says that Russia gets to keep the land it has. They're not going to give up the Donbass. That's gone. Russia owns the eastern part of Europe. Now all that Ukraine can do is to agree that Russia won't go further. And if they don't agree, Russia will keep going further. Second of all, Russia has cut Europe out of the game plan. The game plan now is for, not Russia, U.S. The game plan now is for the U.S. and Russia. U.S. and Russia are going to work together transactionally to rebuild the Ukraine and also to harness the minerals in the eastern part of the Ukraine, which Russia is holding. And those minerals are raw, rare earth minerals that the U.S. needs, which is why China has leverage on the U.S. So the plan is now is that Trump is holding, or the U.S. and the West are holding $250 billion of Russian assets. And they might be able to get, not they, U.S. might be able to get Russia to agree that since they did start the war, they need to do some reparations. That money could be used as capital investment. Listen to what I'm saying. Capital investment into West Ukraine and into East Ukraine for profit making. And then but the capital will come from Russia. It's not like the U.S. is seizing Russia's money. It's just that the money that they have seized will be used to do that. And also Russia has agreed that they're open to the idea of starting to give Europe their cheap, almost free natural gas once this war ends, if Europe is willing to end it. Europe is being stubborn now, and America warned them that they can't use Russia's money to fund the war. So Europe is now taking loans against themselves to fund the war. So all I'm saying now is that it's clear that Trump wants Russia to win because he wants this war to end. And if this war ends today, Russia has won because their only goal was to take the Donbass, and they have it. He wants them to win so that he can go into business deals with them for the minerals they have in the eastern Ukraine. And also, they can use the Russian money to rebuild Western Ukraine, and Ukraine will be happy because they'll get some of the money that Kushner and all those guys use for profit investments there. U.S. gets 50% of it. Then moving forward, Russia and the U.S. will be shareholders in the rebuilding of a peaceful, demilitarized Ukraine. What the fuck else would you want, Americans? Why the fuck do you want Russia to lose? Is it because you just want to brag and say Russia lost? It doesn't bring you money. I'm not saying this will bring us money too, but why the fuck do you care? You got to give Trump 2 thumbs up for this because he shook hands with Putin in Alaska. That's a plus. Anytime America and Russia are not fighting each other and are friends, that's good. He met Xi a couple of months ago and worked out a way to kind of lessen the tariff wars. So what the fuck do you guys want? What I'm telling you what you should want. You should want all of this shit to be over. So what I'm saying is that Trump is helping Russia win. Trump will win. And why the fuck do you care? What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, I mean, the European Union are not fully united in taking.
This show is American angle. We don't care about the Europeans.
Yeah, well,
this is American politics.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Before I get to that, I have to explain from the both sides. You see, because
hopefully they don't turn off the channel yet. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
It's the clash between Europe and America over this issue of Ukraine. America has its own direction of where it wants to go. Europe.
You mean Trump has a direction because the Democrats want the war to continue, and the average American doesn't want Russia to win. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So the problem that Europe is having with America is that they have had to turn to back down, not only because of America, but because of 2 other countries, Belgium and Hungary, that are also afraid of repercussions from Russia if they touch those assets. Yeah. So Europe is now being seen very much as the third party in these negotiations that are going on that are affecting the fate of Ukraine. But as I said before, until the issue of the land has been determined, it's all a mishmash of ideas as far as I'm concerned, and all this claim that they're close to ending a war is all tosh. Russia will say they'll think about it, and then they'll continue to take land and increase their position of leverage.
By now, people would have turned off the show.
America.
These are Americans, not Europeans. Let's stick to the point here.
Okay. Yeah. It says Russia I'm talking about. Russia is the subject of this matter.
Yeah, but this is American politics. Why should Americans care if Russia wins?
Now, what America is doing is they're trying to withdraw from this conflict financially. They're trying to withdraw their funding and come back and actually see if they can make some money off it in terms of negotiations with Ukraine and Russia on rare earth minerals and so on and so forth. But essentially, America wants to cut back on spending on war in that particular region.
Yeah.
They also want to give Russia what it wants, and they are looking to make money. Now, when they say they're looking to make money, I don't know how much of it is for American interest or whether it's actually for Kushner and his cronies and personal oligarchy wealth interest, which is probably more of what I think it is. It's not really any action that's in the interest of America.
But here's the thing, it doesn't go against the interest
releasing them from financial bondage.
So here's the thing, is that Americans should be indifferent then, because Trump and his boys will use Russian investment and also bring in trade with the U.S. by bringing in rare minerals. So let's say the Americans don't get anything out of it. At least Americans aren't spending money on continuing the war, which we are paying for. So it still comes out as a plus for Americans, because no longer will American tax money be going to help Ukraine. Go ahead.
The American fear propaganda machine is very strong, and I think it's still going to convince many Americans that giving anything to Russia is conceding against the communists, and that American fear might interest other members of other parts of the population.
Is Russia a communist country? I'm not going against you. Is it a communist country? It's more capital. It's just as capitalist as America. It's no longer communist. So I'm just saying it's not for you.
We're speaking as educated people, but I'm speaking generally from the understanding of the average American who will make the decision, who will give boots on the ground.
Yeah, but that's the point of our show, is to educate. So our topic is that America has nothing to care that if Russia wins, because communism is not a threat to America. Even if Russia was a communist country, it's not a threat. China is a communist country, and we depend on them for cheap goods. So how is communism America's enemy? I know I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking the view that America should care about communism doing well. In fact, we should be praying that we have it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, there's a cognitive dissonance when it comes to
that's just another word for stupidity. Yeah.
Yes. Arguments for or against communism when it comes to Americans. The conviction, once they say it's evil, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do to persuade them of that mindset. I've seen it happen, so I don't really bother myself too much. I try to live within the confines and let them experience the consequences.
So the average American would rather be broke and lose their house than to see Russia beat Ukraine, even if it doesn't affect them. That's what you're telling me, because communism must lose even if Americans suffer, right? That's what Americans are for, right?
Yeah, it's a conviction of the strength of the propaganda in America and how much it could manage to continue to control its people. One of the first things it does is it preys on the vanity. It makes you believe you're more intelligent than you already are, and that you are more elevated in your knowledge. So already you're being sold a line of bullshit, and then they're sucking your dick, but actually to make you think you're some kind of super smart person, but actually they're making fools of you. They're taking your money, they're impoverishing you at your expense, and you continue to choose them because you do not seem to see any other option. And anything outside that, from your base education and understanding of American politics and its history, makes it absurd to say that communism is not evil, no matter how.
Let me tell you something.
Common sense, how much common sense is used to argue the point.
It goes deeper into that. Here's my theory. After World War II, it wasn't just about communists. America is a white supremacist nation, and they wanted to say that we're better than Russia. We're fucking better. We're bigger. We're stronger. And I would argue that America would rather be better than Russia than to be fed. They would rather starve to death and say they're better than Russia. So I think this ideology is white supremacist. They would rather suffer than to see another country that's doing well and strong. So that's why Americans are willing to mortgage their homes, to send their children to die and everything else, just so that they can kill Russians, because Russians aren't white Europeans. They're Slavics. What do you think, Kunle?
Yeah, I mean, we all know about white supremacy. That's
the only explanation I have. And you saw the picture. Trump came to Alaska and shook hands with Putin. And for those of you who don't have history, Putin shook hands with Bill Clinton, too. You know that, Kunle. He shook hands with Bill Clinton. Russia has always wanted to be America's friend, but Bill Clinton never said, fuck you, no, we just want your resources. We want your country to be free market capitalism, and we want our companies to come in there and take your stuff. That's when Putin now pivoted away from the U.S. and went to China. Because
the concept of white supremacy governance is not so much about the concept of whiteness and race. Is this so much as the control of a population, and retention of wealth in the hands of very, very few people, barely enough people to fill a classroom, much less a country. And these people manipulate the minds of others in order to ensure that populations are divided so that they can never actually come together.
So Russia used to be part of you're right. Russia used to be part of the white supremacist world until they killed their czar. The czar used to hang out with the kings and queens of Germany and England till they killed their czar and said, no, we the people are going to take our resources. The Bolshevik Revolution. And the Western world has never forgiven them for that. I know I'm going off tangent. What do you think? Yeah,
it's not going off tangent. It's exactly what has happened that has affected 20th and 21st century politics. The royal Tsar, the Tsars are related by blood to the British royal family. If you saw the Tsar and I think King Edward or whoever it was, they looked alike. I mean, they were cousins. They were first cousins or second cousins. Queen Victoria was mother to the King of Russia and the King of England. The future King of England. She was literally the mother of both of them. So there is a long-standing relationship. They were both seeking to be empirical, although Russia really never really managed to push its empire into Africa as did the Western nations for reasons because they were more concerned with what was going on within their area. I mean, Asia is a big area and to manage. So they are more concerned with that. But if you look at the fundamentals, Russia has never tried to colonize Africa.
And they've never taken aggression against America.
Yes, and so they don't have that culture of colonialism in Africa in them. They may have a natural reaction of, oh, you're different skin color to me, so you must be stupid. But which is also one of the fundamentals of racism. But I mean, that's just human nature.
That's the same anywhere you go.
The fundamentals of colonialist supremacy is
and imperialist. All right, so we're done. So we're not going to go too deep into that because this is the America show. All I'm saying is that America, get used to this. Why am I saying America get used to this? I'm just going to inform you that as long as America heads in this direction, I know what's going to happen when Trump leaves. I think it's going to stay like this. The world is no longer West versus East. It's no longer Russia versus America. It's transactional. So American government will be doing business all over the world. They'll do business with Russia. And this Russia-Ukraine war is over. It's over. Ukraine has lost. Deal with it. Last thoughts, Kunle, to take us out.
Yeah. So as we look at what's going on in Ukraine, yes, Russia is on the increase. America has shown it to be isolationist in nature, trying to pull back, exposing Europe and putting Europe and Ukraine in a weaker position every day. As we see it continue. And from myself and Mustafa, it's been an interesting look into the politics of the region. And we bid you good night, farewell, adieu. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Adieu. I was in Tupac mode.